Hi everyone, this is LuckGod, and this is the third battle report from a tournament that I hosted recently. This is actually technically the final, although whether I win or lose, I can't win the first place prize because I'm running it. That seems a bit dodgy. So I'm just playing for fun, so I brought janky nonsense lists. So in this game, I'm up against my buddy Greylord Dave, and he is running Zerkova1 with 2 destroyers. The new Captain Sophia Sternova, 2 Iron Fang Kovniks, Black Dragons maxed with command attachment, and then 2 units of Iron Fang Pikemen maxed with command attachments. He's got the Great Bears, he's got the Cav Solo, Markov or whatever. And this is all in the Legion of Steel theme. I am running my Siege's character couple combo list, which is Siege with Squire, Triumph and Hunter. Brun and Lug, Rausch and Brine, Tarian and Rutger. Rutger's running a Talon. Blythe and Bull, Hern and John, an Ironholt and Linus and Adria. So it looks like I'm up against a lot less shooting than the Retribution list I faced earlier. So hopefully Big Pig doesn't get shot off the board before he does anything this turn. Alright, let's get into it. So Cade will get first turn this game, and with advanced move he moved up the Black Dragon Pikeman in the middle. He had all of his units run up to get as much board space as he could. His Warjacks trundled up as well. Great Bears are hidden in behind the Black Dragons. He's got his Cav Solo there as well. A lot of these Black Dragons are in the trench. He's got his solos for no sleeping on the job. He's running up as fast as he can. So I have to start trying to whittle these guys down as soon as possible, because otherwise I'm going to lose quite heavily. So I have Siege go up, and he puts Explosivo on himself, and he turns to face the board edge, so he'll still be able to see Triumph before Triumph activates. So he ground pounders, and he manages to clip, I think it was like 5 of the Black Dragons, and nearly all of them he hit, and because they are 14 I believe, he just insta-kills them, and then the ones around them take the power 8 from Explosivo, which kills a few more. He then puts Explosivo on Triumph, because it's an upkeep spell, he can cycle it, and he drops a foxhole for all of my solos to sit in. Triumph walks up and manages to shoot and kill the command attachment officer, so they lose access to their mini-feat, which is good for me. I have Hern and John on the right move up. They drift an AoE in and manage to kill I think just a regular Iron Fang on the right hand unit. The bear and the dwarf puts up his Brun, he puts up his upkeep spell, and then the bear riles and runs in front of him. I have the Talon run to the front of the foxhole. I've got Rutger in there with it. I put Linus and Adria in the foxhole as well, and then an Ironholt have gone in the foxhole also. I've got my Hunter behind the wall on the left. It didn't really have any targets to do anything with. Rausch and Brine just move up, and I have Blythe and Bull flank hard to the left. They are preying the left-hand unit of Iron Fangs, so having them drift off to the left means they're much more likely to survive this encounter, I hope. So Kador turn 2. He was as shocked as I was at the amount he lost that turn. So he has the remaining 2 Black Dragons run up to get in Brine's way. Both of his units of Iron Fang Pikemen pop their mini-feats, which allow them to replace whatever order they had with Shield Wall order at the end of the turn. So both units run their full 12 and then are in Shield Wall at the end of that. so they've moved up very, very far and are shield walled. He has his Cav solo in the trench. He has that new female solo, I forget her name, in the trench also. Both of his warjacks ran up. His caster had put Ghost Walk onto the left-hand unit of Iron Fangs so that they could ignore the rough terrain. The Great Bears are now hanging out behind the forest in the middle of the board, slightly to the left. His caster has also gone really far forward and popped her feet. Her feet meaning that I can't run. No, is it run? I can't shoot, so I can't make ranged attacks, and I can't run, charge, or make power attacks or special attacks or special actions. Special attacks and actions wouldn't really affect most armies, but as it turns out, all of these little two-man units, a lot of them rely on their special attacks and special actions, so this feat actually affects me quite a lot. Okay. So I decide that this should be my feat turn, so really Siege needs to go very early on in the turn. I have him with pre-measuring. I can nicely find a spot that gets me so I'm still on the hill, outside of Zerkova's 14-inch control area, but affecting as much of his army with my 14-inch control area with my feet as possible. So I managed to get the entire right-hand unit of Iron Fangs in my control area, his Cav solo, and a few of the left-hand unit of Iron Fangs. So Siege casts Explosivo on himself again. He feats. He puts a ground pounder down, which ground pounder changes the Iron Fang. Well, his feat changes the Iron Fang's armor to 7, and then Shield Wall puts it back up to 11. So they still auto die to the PAL 14s of ground pounder, and I only need 4s to kill them with the PAL 8 of Explosivo, unless the explosion happens behind the shield wall in the back arc, in which case they auto die from that as well. So his Explosivoed ground pounder kills a hell of a lot, and then I have Triumph back out of the control area, and he kills. Unfortunately for me, I try to go for the Cav solo, and he shield guards it to that female solo, I forget her name, and she's got the rule where she doesn't die when she dies, she just sits there, and every time I kill a friendly faction model, she gains another health, so she's not actually dead. So I have Hearn and John are miles outside of the control area, so they shoot and kill a few more Iron Fangs on the right with their scattering AoEs. I also managed to kill both of the Iron Fang Kovniks on that side, which is good. I have my Talon walk up, and it stabs one of the black dragons, killing that. An Iron Holt back out, so they're not in her control area as well. I find a spot perfect that I can get Anaya to be able to use Kiss on the left-hand unit of Iron Fangs, so she does that, and Holt just only has line of sight to one Iron Fang that isn't engaged, so he just kills one Iron Fang. Rutger Shaw moves back as well, takes a shot. Tarian moves back. I don't know if she has any targets because she's only range 10. But regardless, between all of my shooting from Blythe and Bull on the left, and Rorsch shooting his gun that he gets 2 shots, my Hunter, and then I send Brine in, and he kills 3 of the Iron Fangs with melee, I managed to kill all but 3 of the left-hand unit of Iron Fangs. So that's incredibly successful. I think that's like 9 models there. I kill all but 1 of the Iron Fangs on the right, both of the remaining black dragons. So yeah, it's extremely good for me. I'm quite pleased with that. Kador turn 3. So after that horrific attrition for him, he decides Scenario is a good shout for him. So the Destroyer on the right gets given a bunch of focus. He has his Iron Fang on the right charge the objective, it does some damage to it, and then the Destroyer finishes the objective off. So he has that zone on the right, that will be scoring him 1 point, and then he sends his Iron Fangs into the Talon, and they manage to kill the Talon, and with a redirected... oh sorry, that was the Great Bears that did that. The Great Bears charged my Talon and killed it, and then a redirect killed Linus. He tried to kill Adria with his charging Cav, but somehow managed to miss the attack roll. So his remaining Iron Fangs on the left killed Adria. His Destroyer on the left moved behind the forest in the middle of the board and took a shot at... I think it might have taken a shot at the objective before the Jack went in, because he wanted to really make sure. And Zerkova is sat at the back of the zone in the trench. So he goes up 3 control points this turn for the objective and the 2 zones. So I may have been up massively on attrition, but I'm now in danger of losing the game on Scenario. My having moved back to be out of his feet has really put a lot of my models out of position in that regard. So what I have to do is get as much as I can into the zones and killing his remaining models. So what I do is I have Iana, she first triumphs feet shot, stupidly again goes into the Cav solo. I derped and forgot about the shield guard, so that solo took the shield guard and then technically died, and then will heal up again every time I kill a model. It should have gone into the Destroyer on the right, but I derped. So I have Bron and Lug attack the Destroyer. They do some decent damage to it, but leave it alive. I have Triumph move up, and he puts a shot into the Destroyer on the left and does some damage to it. Siege moves up behind him and force hammers the Destroyer on the right. I was hoping to force hammer out of her control area, so it wouldn't be able to kill the bear back next turn, but I don't manage to knock it far enough, so it's still in her control area, but it is knocked down and it's taken some damage. So Iana puts harm on the Great Bears and Hulk kills 2 of them, and then Tarian kills the last Great Bear and one of the Iron Fangs. This means that solo is now fully healed. Rutgershaw charges, and he charges the cavalry solo. His Weapon Master attack kills it, and then he uses his dual attack pistol shot to kill just a random Iron Fang. Rorsch moves up and does the I've forgotten the name of it, but it's the special action he has where he can place an AoE on himself, and then Rorsch and Brian both get to move. So Brian got to move out of the water on the left, and then when he activated he walked around and punched the objective to death. Blythe and Bull have swapped their prey onto... oh no, sorry, ignore me, there's one Iron Fang left alive, but they shoot at the Destroyer. The Hunter also shoots into the Destroyer, doing some more damage to it. And that's how I end my turn. So I don't score on the right hand zone because his Destroyer didn't get slammed far enough, but I do score the left hand zone and the objective, and he doesn't score the central zone because I'm contesting it. So the score goes to 3-2 to him. So Kador turn 4. He spends a focus to make his Destroyer on the right stand up, and he's given it focus as well, so it's going to have 2. He has his destroyer on the left to kill the squire, which is contesting both the rectangle zone on the right and the circle zone. He then has his Iron Fang try and kill Rutgershaw, but he either doesn't kill him or he toughs. Either way, the female solo then has to attack, and she finishes him off. He then sends his destroyer in on Lug the bear, and doesn't manage to kill the bear, so the bear's still stood there. The problem is the bear does have 4 fury on him, and I can only take 3 back, so there is a possibility he might frenzy, which is not too great. So at the end of this turn, I score the left hand zone and he scores the central zone, so the score goes to 4-3 to him. So I have Triumph put his maintenance phase sentry shot into the destroyer. I then have Tarian kill the remaining Iron Fang, which lets Blythe and Bull swap their prey. They put it on the destroyer. Triumph, Iana and Hulk move up. They put harm on the destroyer, and then Hulk kills the female solo, but unfortunately she doesn't die this turn. She dies at the end of his turn if I haven't killed any friendly models nearby, and I hadn't, so I have the Hunter and Blythe and Bull all shoot into the destroyer in the central zone, and they kill it. Rorsch and Brine just move up. Brine is getting in a position where he can get into the middle zone next turn. The bear, by the way, didn't frenzy, so I got quite lucky there, and combined with Brun, the little dwarf, having flank with the bear, and the bear being able to make its initials and still buy 3 more attacks, I managed to kill the destroyer. So at the end of this turn I score the 2 rectangular zones. I can't score the circle zone even if I had a unit in it, because he has his solo in there, so the score goes 5 points to me, 4 points to him, so I've managed to finally swing the scenario. So Kador turn 5. I didn't actually get a picture of this turn, unfortunately. At the beginning of his turn, his Iron Fang female solo, she dies because there was no damage done to models near her to allow her to heal. So he's left with just his caster, and at this point he knows he's lost, but he figures, yeah, let's see if I can do some damage to something. So he charges Triumph and burns through all his focus, buying and boosting damage, and does some damage to Triumph, but not enough to really mean anything. So yeah, we know the game's basically over because he only has his caster left, so I can just score enough to win. But the bear needs his scalps, damn it. So the bear goes in, and just like he did against Kalissa, he animuses for 1, boosts to hit, and manages to eat himself a Zerkova. Nom nom nom. Yeah, this was a fun old game. A lot more fun than getting shot to death by elves. Not so fun for my Kador friend, but again, he's never going to see the likes of this type of list again, so yeah, unique experience at least there. So yeah, I ended up going 3-0 and winning my own tournament, but the first place prize, obviously I slid down to the person that came second, and then so on from there. Overall, it was a great event. I was a little sour at the beginning, getting shot to death. It wasn't very fun, but managing to swing it back and not just give up, it taught me a little bit in, you know, just try not to get tilted, even though things seem desperate. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed seeing these absolutely nuts janky lists. If you've got any lists like that you'd like me to play, I'm usually pretty okay with playing a request list. I don't usually mind, as long as it's not something that's utterly unfun. I'll give it a go, and I'll catch you later, guys. Bye.